Welcome to Next Level Greatness, the podcast. Around here, we'll be talking about all things expansion, going from good to great and from great to greatness. I'm your host, Barbie Collab. Get ready for your next level. Let's do this. Welcome to Next Level Greatness, the podcast. Today, I want to talk to you about slowing down, taking your time with whatever it is, and also not having to keep up with everybody else's rhythm of life. Can you just take a moment to inhale and exhale? I don't remember if I've shared this with you, but there was a period of months where I had a really hard time recording my podcast because I kept holding my breath. I felt like I had to say everything in one breath. And it's so funny that it's happening to me right now because I'm being self-conscious about it. So, I'm actually taking the time to breathe. And if I get curious about what it is that is making me feel like I got to get it all out all at once, what is that about? And I'm not really sure, but if I were to take a guess, it's like, you got to know what I have to say. It's almost like I begin screaming. I worked with a voice coach, Matt, last year, and one of the pieces of feedback and insight or advice that he gave me is lean back. Lean back. Allow people to come to you, because he said that he could relate that we have a message that we know needs to be shared. And so we lean forward, we scream, we're loud. And nobody wants to be screamed at. I don't. And then I guess sometimes I do. I mean, I've been to Tony Robbins events where it's very hype. Not that he's screaming. I mean, he is screaming sometimes. And he is a master of what he does, his craft. But there is a hype culture that exists. Like, you got to do this and get the results and this and this and this and this. I'm not saying this is Tony Robbins, by the way, but if you've ever been to a Tony Robbins event, there is a lot of music and like massage each other the shoulders and jump up and down. And that is to keep the energy up because you have 14-hour days, which today I would have a problem with. I would not do that. I'm just in a different season of my life. And maybe you are too. I'm not anti-hustle culture because right now there's this whole debate or discussion that people have swung from one end of the pendulum, hustle culture, go, 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 no days off, hashtag no days off, to just like relax and do nothing. Well, I'm not in the relax and do nothing side of the pendulum because I'm here to do great things and you're here to do great things. But I still think that there is a part of us that feels guilty when we have to rest, that feels that we might be letting other people down if we have to rest. And I want to call that forward and I want to discuss it. So I have an example for you. And by the way, as I'm recording this episode, I'm practicing taking my time and I'm noticing my need or desire to speed up, almost as if you, my listener, would get impatient that I'm not speaking faster. I mean, talk about people pleasing right there. So I want to share a personal example. On Tuesday, I led a class for a training for my network marketing company, Body. And I was so fired up. I had so much to share. I had so much to give. And this comes from several years of feeling like I was out of alignment, feeling like I was training my team with information that was outdated, and they also felt it, but we didn't have a better way. And I have created a better way. I have tapped into a better way of, and by better, I mean a way that feels aligned, a way that feels good, a way that feels like you're not being icky and spammy and you're not trying to sell people something that they don't need. I truly believe in the business opportunity. I truly believe that these home workouts are amazing. But the old way of training people how to sell the products, how to sell the opportunity, that was misaligned. And so I was so excited and happy to be able to share this that I came on the call like a fire hose. I don't think that they experienced me screaming, but let me tell you, it's been 3 days. This is the third day after the call, and my throat still hurts. And that made me think of my voice coach. It's like, why are you screaming? Because you want to be heard. But we can be heard without screaming. We can be heard by just being gentle, which I'm practicing right now. And this actually feels good. What part of us feels that if we don't get the information out of us like a fire hose, or if we don't show up to our work, to our lives with constant boom, 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 what part of us feels like we won't be effective? I'm telling you that there is a whole segment of the population, and it might be you because you're probably listening to me because this is what I've been talking about for a while. There is a whole segment and a growing segment of people around the world to slow down, that want to make an impact, that want to savor everything. So I delivered this class. It was amazing. It felt like I was giving birth to this idea, which required rest after that, and I recognized it. So the content that I delivered was so in-depth and rich and will require processing, homework, rolling up your sleeves, and integration. So application and integration. It has to do with social media. Like, how do you actually grow and connect with people on your social media? And yeah, you could follow exactly what so-and-so who has success does. But what I did in this training was actually teach my team how to fish for life. And I'm claiming that. Like, I am so confident that that was that powerful. So because I've needed to rest these past few days, there was a part of me that was like, you know what? I really want to take next Tuesday, which was the day we're supposed to meet. I want to take that off. Number one, I want to take the day off so that I can recharge and have energy for the other things that are on my agenda. And number two, I think it would be great for them to use this time to integrate. Because one of the things that I hear all the time from people is, I need to catch up. I need to catch up. We're all busy. So just because I'm doing a training doesn't mean that everyone's on my agenda, right? Everyone's on my schedule. But I struggled for a few hours. This was last night, where I was like, oh, but they're going to be disappointed. And coincidentally, I was supposed to meet with a friend, And I just didn't have the energy for it. And I also was like, oh, I feel so bad. I don't want to let her down. There's this meme that has been going around for as long as I can remember. And there's a saying that says, you can't give from an empty cup. My cup was empty. So I could have gone to meet my friend with an empty cup. Who pays the price for that? That would be putting someone else's needs before mine. I could rally and deliver the class on Tuesday, knowing that I have something on Wednesday and Friday. But who pays the ultimate price? So I'll look like a hero, and then I pay the price by feeling drained. So I decided to put myself first so that I can continue giving in a way that is joyful, in a way that is actually for the highest good of the client as well. Because if I'm teaching that you get to do business your way, and that it gets to be pleasurable, and that you get to build with ease, and I'm just giving, and not taking care of myself, then I'm just a hypocrite. And I'm not actually practicing what I teach, living what I teach. This doesn't mean that every single time that I'm, I'm tired today, I'm not going to show up. I mean, you can't do that either, right? Like sometimes you actually do have to show up. But in this case, I really thought about it for, like I said, for several hours yesterday. And I was like, okay, what are the pros? What are the cons? Why am I doing this? Can I savor this experience and this training with my team? Can I make this so that it serves both of us? And the answer was yes. And so I moved things around. I made a post saying, let's use this time for integration. We're moving this around and that around. And people were actually grateful for it. And this is leading by example. And this is also very much, quote unquote, on brand, because two of my values are authenticity. So I was being authentic. I told the truth. One of my values is freedom. So freedom to work my business the way that I want, again, always with the highest good in mind. And another one of my values is growth. So I look at everything as an opportunity to grow. I look at everything as an opportunity to learn about myself and to make this a teaching moment. This is an invitation for you to look at the way you're showing up in your life, your own behaviors. Are you doing things because you're afraid of disappointing other people? I want you to ask yourself, how can I make this experience, whether it's a work experience, whatever life experience, how can I make this experience more pleasurable? How can I simplify it? Where am I trying to please other people before taking care of myself? And where can you tweak? You are allowed to slow down. You are allowed to lean back. A lion sleeps 20 hours a day, but he's the king of the jungle. In the 4 hours that he's awake, he accomplishes what he needs to do, and then he needs to rest and recover. I hope that this episode was supportive for you. I absolutely know that you can accomplish all your beautiful goals if you extend the timeline. If you're trying to put pressure on your timeline and you're like, I need to get this done by 6 months, and look at my voice, it just changed being that way. Which also means that if you have a few hours to work, then you got to bring in some of that strategy so that you make the most efficient use of your time with pleasure, with ease. with simplicity. All right, you guys, I hope, again, that this was helpful. And if you're a new listener, I really would love to ask you to leave a review. They really do help. My wish is for people to get to know this podcast, for people to get to know my work, for us to start this revolution where rest is awesome, where we get to do things our way, where we don't have to be in the rat race. And so your review would help get the word out. I will see you next week. If you loved this episode and if you're loving my podcast, I would love for you to leave a review. They really do make a difference in spreading the word and having more people be impacted. Also, I'd love for you to join me in my Facebook community called The Magnetic Portal. You can find the link in the show notes. I'll see you next time.